All right, welcome everybody. Okay. I had a long night last night. Let's just leave it at that. Good time though. Got to get together with some friends. Dave Matthews Band playing at Jones Beach, so it was there, and I was up way past my bedtime. I didn't get to bed last night till 12:30, so that's late for me. Anyway, had a really nice time, and again, place is packed, roads are packed. The economy is not going to hell in a handbasket. I just want to make that perfectly clear to everybody out there. Are we slowing down? Absolutely. And it's to be expected. But people predicting the end of the world have lost their minds. They really have. We talked about inflation at great length here on the podcast and the effect that it's having. And it is. It's a tax. It's a massive tax on all of us. We're paying for all of the spending, everything from the pandemic. Somebody's got to pay, and that's us. Somebody's got to pay, and that's the taxpayer. I mean, you can't just print money and drop it over the country and not expect there to be some sort of cost with that. And that's what we're dealing with right now. I'm going to get into some financial independence things a little bit later on in the podcast, and we're going to talk about it as well this weekend on the show. I wanted to touch on this, another one of these SPAC fiascos. I mentioned it before, BuzzFeed. The scam it's getting worse and worse and worse, and we called out many of these deals and how they were structured, and it was eerily reminiscent of boiler room operations from the late 1980s, early 1990s, and how these things were structured. As it turns out, many of the employees that were coerced, that's a wrong word, that, they were recruited. They were brought in and given this idea that, hey, you know what? We can't pay you that much. You got to take a lower salary here, but you're going to get stock. You're going to get stock in the company when you go public, bada boom, bada bing. As it turns out, many of these employees, they had certain type of stock when the company did go public. They couldn't cash out. They couldn't sell their shares. And certain people within the company, people that put the deals together, some of the executives at the company, they were able to do it. You try to explain to me how this is somehow honorable. It's not. But again, I don't know what will happen. Who knows? I know we talked about this yesterday. We're talking about a great length. First and foremost, we're now going to be ramping up our military presence in Europe. I think right now we have 100,000 troops stationed in Europe. We're going to add to that. I don't know exactly how much. We're putting troops in Poland. We're going to open up a base in Poland. Going to be rotating troops into Romania, adding and giving destroyers to Spain. Again, I guess NATO's back. Now, again, I'm scouring newspapers all over the globe because Turkey all of a sudden changed its tune and is now back membership for Sweden and Finland. Okay. What were they given? Not a single paper. I'm looking everywhere because Turkey was adamant about, no, this is not happening. No way, no how. So you mean to tell me they just had an about face? They weren't given something or promised something? I find that very, very hard to believe. But, here we go again. Got another two countries that, for all intents and purposes, the United States has to defend. They're talking more and more about NATO and how it's growing and how it's back. I found this quote. Where was it here? Here it is. And you know what? It really, honestly, it pissed me off. It really did. This is David E. Johnson. He's a retired U.S. Army colonel. Served in Europe and at NATO's military headquarters during the Cold War. NATO was a social club for 30 years. Suddenly, it's a military alliance again. How does it make you feel? How does it make taxpayers feel that you've been paying for a social club for the past 30 years? When they built that new headquarters, $1 billion headquarters there in Europe, and all this grandiose, I'm like, what are we doing here? But again, it's a nice gig. Let's be honest here, okay? It's a nice gig if you can get it. Not bad gig. You know what? You get to live in Europe. You get taken care of. You go to parties at embassies, cocktail parties all the time. A lot of expenses picked up. Not a bad gig. It's like becoming an ambassador. The whole State Department here in the United States, quite frankly, needs to be wound down. We have a network of fraternity and sorority houses all across the globe. Oh, who gets to be ambassador at many of these places? If you donate enough money. It's not like you go to ambassador school. What was that movie from the 1980s? It was Goldie Hawn. Protocol. Hey, listen, you want to be ambassador to Italy? You know what? Donate or bundle a shit ton of money for a candidate that happens to win the White House. These are the people that get appointed to those spots. It is what it is. Hey, how about that? How about being an ambassador to the Bahamas? That's not a bad gig. Anyway, it's like going on a paid-for sabbatical, for crying out loud. G7 summit exposes West's challenges in tackling Russia. No, it doesn't expose challenges. It exposes just how stupid these leaders are. I mean, it's how dumb it is. It's again, from the beginning, you decide to put sanctions on Russian oil and Russian gas. It doesn't matter if they're able to sell it to somebody else. It doesn't matter. I got the numbers. China and India are paying about $30 less per barrel discount. They're paying $30 less per barrel. Many countries around the globe, emerging markets around the country, $30 less. The price of oil has gone up. Russia is bringing in more money than it did prior to this. Now you got this idea where they're trying to get some sort of cap on price cap on what anybody around the globe, anybody can buy it. And they want to put it around the production costs for Russia, which is around $10 a barrel. That's what it costs Russia to get a barrel of oil around $10 a barrel. So they want to put it around $10, $11 a barrel. What if Russia just says, fine, we won't sell it? Anyway, honestly, why would they? Why would they sell it? They're not making any money on it. How's that idea going to work out? Not to mention the fact, if you honestly think, and India has just made it perfectly clear, they're not interested. They're not interested. They're going to continue to buy. So honestly, what's the point at this right now? What is the point? It's done. It's done. They lost, and they're trying to find a way that they can save face at this point. And quite frankly, it's pretty embarrassing, if you ask me. It's actually interesting. It was hot mic moment yesterday with Macron, running after Biden, trying to explain to him that the UAE and Saudi Arabia can't pump anymore. They're almost at full capacity. Anyway, we'll continue to follow that. Markets yesterday, again, up strong in the morning, sell off throughout the day. Expect continued volatility. That's just what is going to happen until it doesn't, because it will stop. Will stop. And quite frankly, I've said right here on the program, I don't know when. Could be next week. Could be 2 weeks. Could be a month. Could be later on this fall. But it will. We had the last read on first quarter GDP, and it was revised down again to 1.6%. If we get second quarter GDP numbers, say second quarter GDP comes out, and let's say that's negative, then bada boom, bada bing, technically the NBER could call a recession. I don't necessarily know if they're going to do that based upon the jobs market here in the United States. Again, that's a big factor. There's major factors when it comes to it's misery, I guess. And obviously, one of the biggest one out of them all is unemployment, not being able to work, not having a job. Again, we still have 2 job openings for every person that's looking for work here in the United States. That's one thing. The other thing is inflation at the pump and inflation at the grocery store, stuff you have to buy all the time. That constant gut punch again and again and again and again and again. You're getting hit with it all the time. You got the various different consumer sentiment indices that have come out. It's used Michigan's one that they put out, and it's horrible. And again, you got many pundits out there. Oh my God, consumer, blah blah. Of course they are. They're pissed off. People are pissed off. And when they're doing these surveys, they let it out that they're ticked off. They don't like paying $5 a gallon. They don't like their grocery bills up 20, 30% higher than they were just a couple years ago. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. That's why. That needs to be brought under control. Anyway, years ago, this is almost 20 years ago, I put together a list. It was called the Markowski Investments Watchdog on Wall Street Financial Independence Top 20. It was around 2003, 2004. I did it. I been on the air for about 4 years at that point in time with my own show. There's a few things. I'm going to go over a few. We're not going to hit them all today on the program. The first one on my list is it's basically a shot at, I guess, kind of happiness and being too much of a consumer and chasing things. And first one on this is that shopping and buying is not your favorite pastime or hobby. And we get into some of the more nitty gritty here. When the prices of equities drop, instead of getting worried, you sense an opportunity. When the stock markets race through the roof, you get nervous. You pay yourself. This is something that we address time and time again. Dollar cost averaging, paying yourself every single month, putting money away from every paycheck. You have exit strategies for companies in your portfolio. Basically, when you have a system put in place that, guess what, certain things happen, guess what, we're going to have to get out of this. And that's everything. Stocks, bonds, real estate, doesn't matter. Your state's in order. You have no problem selling things that aren't working. You can detect conflicts of interest with brokerage firms and insurance companies. Number 9 is one of my favorites. And I've often used it on the radio show. You have greater wealth than your neighbors, and they don't have a clue. They don't have any idea whatsoever. Again, it's been one of the more difficult things that throughout my career I've had to deal with, quite frankly. And I mentioned it. We talked about social media a little bit yesterday on the program. The fact that social media has taken keeping up with the Joneses and put it on steroids. Everybody's competing with one another, and life shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't look at it. You should look at be happy for other people. But again, it's human nature. Oh, what, that guy's got that size of boat. I got to get one too. He's got this. I've got to get one too. And so many people put themselves in just financial dire straits by getting in over their head. Too much stuff that they can't afford and going into debt for the stuff. Now, listen, I have no problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. You know what? I'm going to use this as an example. I don't care. Why not? My daughter asks me, hey, Dad, can I get a pair of Gucci shoes? I started laughing. I'm like, really? Well, Mom has. I said, Aspasia, when we were your age, told my daughter, do you think that we had this? Do you know how many years that I worked and we were married before I could afford to buy your mom, stuff like that? Again, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. I don't understand people. They look at others and what they have and, get angry or whatever. That doesn't make any sense. But purchase what you can afford and don't get in over your head, because then you don't want your stuff to own you. You don't want your stuff to own you. So when I get somebody that comes in and they want me to start pointing in the right direction, we're talking to them, no matter where they are all over the country. And they're telling me that they've almost got besides student loan debt, they've also got $80,000-$90,000, for example, in credit card debt. And this is high interest debt, and they're on a regular basis, moving from one credit card to another credit card to try to get around some of these high interest charges there. I try to explain to them, if you think that if we're capable at Markowski Investments by any way, shape, manner, or form of showing the level of return, let's say the credit card is paying 20% annually. Yeah, certain years, we can do that for you, but we can't most certainly do that every year. Nobody can. So you first have to make changes and you have to pay down this debt, because you don't want to be taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And same people, I they got all this stuff and boats and country club memberships and all these things. And I say, why don't you cut back on some of this? Pay this down. And that's when, people get quiet. And this is where pride kicks in. There's that scene in The Devil's Advocate, the end there, Al Pacino. And he's like, when he comes back, pride's my favorite sin. So what? You've got to make some adjustments. And people unfortunately rather put themselves through financial pain and unnecessary stress. For what? For what? Because of pride? Because you're worried that what somebody might be thinking about you because you're not at the club and you lost your, you dropped your membership there to pay down credit card debt. People, this is just things that you need to do. Okay. Smart things. And again, when recessions, let's call it. We're going to call it. I'm going to take the NBER. We'll throw them out there. I'm going to call the recession. How's that? Call it. We're in a recession right now. So what? What did I tell you about? What am I doing right now? I'm going through everything that we do here. And it's a good time to review expenses. Where can we cut back? Where can we cut back? Anyway, couple more here. Never open up, again, follow along. You never open up your credit card bills with fear and trepidation. You can afford to purchase that new car or boat. You decide against it. When brokers or portfolio managers or these crypto idiots out there tell you how great they are and how smart they are and how unbelievable their performance is, you know what? You're laughing on the inside. You laugh. This, again, I'm dating myself. This is before cryptos. I said, you laugh when your friends talk about some hot new hedge fund that they bought into, or you could basically say some crypto that they got into. The goals of your family, they don't hinge upon your portfolio posting double-digit returns on a regular basis. You can't do that. You're not being realistic. Again, some of these people and some of these portfolio managers, some of these stockbrokers, and even financial advisors, they paint a picture that's pie in the sky stuff. And we've made fun of it here on the program. Some of the commercials are running on TV. I forget which company it was years ago. I'm laughing. A couple school teachers in the ad. Oh, they've got a massive vineyard in Napa because they've got a great financial advisor. Shut up. Come on. Oh, yeah, a couple public school teachers all of a sudden have got enough because they did smart investments, with the money that they could put aside outside of their pension. Magically they can afford a $15 million vineyard or whatever the hell it is. And it's just stupid. It is. And one of the things I like to mention as well, which goes along with it, stuff, it's just the stuff that makes you happy. And, I like spending money, I like doing things too. And unfortunately, some of the things I like to do the most of during the pandemic wasn't allowed to do. Again, I haven't been on a vacation, a proper vacation. I know. I went away last year, just not long enough based upon what I did. It was very short. But time, having a good time. That's, that you can't purchase more time. Can't purchase it. Doesn't matter, what you do. So to me, that's why you put money away. You want to be able to spend time with your loved ones and your friends and have experiences, because quite frankly, that's worth a hell of a lot more. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll see you.